The local police and one deeply troubled mother are at odds when her daughter is murdered and nobody is arrested. The situation worsens, and everybody involved is doing the most they can to put an end to this tragic and horrible situation. Does 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri actually deliver on the dark and comedic tones promised in the trailer, or are we going to need to lock this film up and throw away the key? Let's dive in and take a look in this review. First, let me start by saying that this film is absolutely not what the trailer represented. The film is actually so dark, this is the darkest film I've seen all year. The comedic moments that they try and present in this film don't really land the way I think that they were expecting to produce some type of levity to actually lighten the mood and to lighten the situations that are going on the big screen. Also, with the trailer, the mother in this film actually looks like she's gonna have some more comedic moments as she's kind of losing her mind and hitting her wit's end, which is not the case at all in this film. From the trailers, we know that her daughter is murdered and there's 0 arrests that have been made, but that's really just scratching the surface of how this film goes into the very bleak and lightless territory. So Mildred Hayes, the mother, played by Frances McDormand, is literally on a warpath. Now, because this is a family-friendly show, I won't go into the full details of why on this review. However, the written review that we'll be posting on the blog later this week will actually kind of cover more in depth what was going on that made the mom just completely go mental. I will say from the trailers, again, we know that her daughter is murdered, and that's really only the surface level. From there, we really dive into a pit of despair, and it just gets super dark for the rest of the film. Also, Sheriff Willoughby, played by Woody Harrelson, we start off by getting to know this guy and kind of getting a sense for who he is, but then shortly into the film, we find out that he's developing a cancer and he starts coughing up blood. And then at one point, he, while his family is asleep in the house, walks out to his horse shed, puts a bag over his head, and blows his brains out. Yes, that is correct. He literally shoots himself in the head while his family is asleep, diving even further into the darkness for this movie. Officer Dixon, played by Sam Rockwell, is a local law enforcement officer who worked for Sheriff Willoughby, and he's actually known around town as the town racist who beats up and tortures minorities, as well as he almost kills an advertising salesman by throwing him out of a second store window and then beating him up on the ground. So I hope by now you understand that this film really explores darkness, and it's definitely not a feel-good dark comedic movie. Finally, the one character who's around to try and produce some form of levity is the town midget, played by Peter Dinklage. And his real purpose in this film, from what I could gather, he doesn't really do a lot to drive the plot or anything like that. He just kind of seems to be around in the town, and he is referred to as the town midget. But his real sole purpose, like his big moment in this movie, is simply being an alibi for the mom, that played by Frances McDormand, because she lights the police building on fire. She literally goes to the police station, lights the whole thing on fire. Now, Officer Dixon, unbeknownst to her character, is actually in the police station, and he himself gets caught on fire. He gets permanently scarred. Doesn't die, but permanently scarred, again, venturing further and further and further into the darkness. Literally, this film is pitch black storytelling. The acting in this film is superb. Everybody who's playing a part, whether it's a main character or an ancillary character who's just kind of brought in to fill out the realism of what life in this small town would be like, everybody plays their part to perfection, and they don't feel like caricatures like other movies that we've reviewed on this channel. The people in this actually feel like real, genuine people who are going through these things. Whether you like what they're going through or not, they're going through these things, and you get a sense of realism from their performance, which was top notch. So overall, this film was not at all what I expected from the trailers. It's very dark, it's very depressing, but I will say that the acting, again, is superb. Also, this film really does a great job of delivering on storytelling. While the story they are telling is very dark, disturbing, and just full of graphic imagery at times, this film still does a great job of explaining to you who the people are, what their motivations are, what's moving the plot along, and why characters are doing what they're doing. However, all of the great acting in this film still doesn't escape the fact that this is the darkest and most depressing film I've seen all year. There's literally no joy to be found from beginning to end, and even the ending gives you a hint that this film might just jump and springboard off into the well of despair. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is in your local theater right now. And if you're the type of person that can watch shows like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Dexter, True Detective, and then once you're done watching these shows, you just smile, you go to the kitchen, and you start cooking a pizza. If you're that type of person, then you'll probably enjoy this film. But if you're any other type of person, you probably might want to avoid this in the theaters, because even though, again, it is a very, very well acted movie, this film is so dark and depressing that it literally taxes us emotionally as an audience, so that it is not a fun time in the theater. You're just sitting there watching these people go crazy, and while some of their reasons may or may not be legitimate, they're literally going crazy and just driving home all of this dark, depressing tones that really just suck the life and the energy out of the room. However, if you are going to go see this film, because again, the acting is spectacular and the story is very well told. So if you can stomach the shows like I just mentioned, the SVU, True Detective, Dexter, if you can watch those types of shows and be unfazed and just look at it and go, wow, that was a really good story for that episode, I think you'll enjoy this movie. However, just for your own sake, try and find somewhere happy to go afterwards to try and buoy your spirits. 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri is in your local movie theater right now, and it's getting at least one high five from this guy because of the storytelling and how well each actor did in their role. Hi, I'm Jeremy Brunansky, and you've just finished watching a movie review on Brunansky's vlog. Along with the movie reviews and the weekly show, we also do the Certified Rad segments and the movie news breakdown, which you may want to check out. All right, everybody, we'll see you next Monday for a brand new episode of Brunansky's vlog, Monday morning, 10 a.m. PST. See you there. Have a great week.